I was born and raised in South Florida as well, and a mutual friend, Howard Glicken, sends his regards. My question to you today actually comes from friend Max Eden, who works in the educational department of AEI, who you're very familiar with. The question is, last weekend the RNC approved a resolution condemning the Common Core curriculum. You have been a vocal supporter of those standards. Why do you and the RNC disagree so strongly, and how would you sell those standards in light of the skepticism and suspicion that the RNC resolution articulated?
So let me start by explaining what Common Core state standards are, because I'm not sure everybody knows what they are. Common Core state standards are a set of standards that are fewer, they're higher, they require critical thinking skills, and they're benchmarked to the best in the world. And the ultimate objective and result would be, if we applied these standards and children mastered them, that by the time they finished 12th grade, they would be college and or career ready. Unlike the standards that almost all states have right now, where you can master the standards and you'll end up being a 10th grade reader and you will take remedial classes or you won't go to college at all. Literally, that's the level of standards we've had. We've so dumbed down our expectations for young people so as not to create any kind of conflict, because we're worried about little Johnny's self-esteem rather than whether little Johnny can read and write. The net result is that we've dumbed down these standards. The other problem with standards in the states is that we have way too many of them. So the way a standard is created is kind of something I learned as governor, is kind of an odd thing. It's literally a political process where the science standards, you'll have the teachers that teach chemistry or biology, they'll fight for concepts inside these, what the expectations are. And the net result is that we're asking teachers to teach too many standards, they can't even get through them. And then we test, in many cases, in many states, to a level that's not even what people are being taught because the standards are too low. So 45 states, not the federal government, 45 states and their state school officers said that we need to do better. We need to have fewer, higher standards that require critical thinking skills that get us to, if you apply them faithfully, a 12th grade level reader and math and science taker, if you will, and so that you could graduate without taking remedial courses, and you'd actually be aligned towards getting a higher degree. The AEI supports this idea. Most think tanks support it. I don't know if Hoover certainly does. There are some people that oppose this because they're fearful of the federal government's involvement in this. And they have, in the case of the RNC, without any debate, without any information being provided, they expressed their concerns in a way that allowed, not a landslide, I think it was a pretty close vote, and it passed. Look, if the RNC opposes something that I support, it's not going to change my view unless it's fact-based. If someone can convince me that these standards are not higher, because they are, that they are not more meaningful and relevant to the 21st century, because they are, that it creates a higher expectation that will force the whole system to move to higher objectives for all students, which these will, then I would pull back. But look, I don't really care if the RNC, based on no information, is going to support this because of some emotional pitch that was made at the place. I mean, I'm disappointed, but it doesn't. I guess I'm old enough now where people are going to have to persuade me based on some fact-based basis. I think this is hugely important. We're in complete denial as a country about our education outcomes. And sadly, this is the part that really troubles me. Most people that when I speak to about this, they look, that guy's a little crazy about this. It's like, kind of off a little bit. He's a little, that twinkle in his eye, looks a little crazed. Because they generally think their kids are going to good schools. People generally think it's not my school, it's not my child. It's the kid in the urban core area. It's the kid living in poverty. That's where the problem is. No, you know what? If you measure how we do at any of the economic strata of society and compare it to the best in the world, our kids are not performing at the level they need to perform. And as we become more globalized this becomes increasingly important. This complacency has yielded a mediocre result. And the places where change happens the fastest are the ones that are gaining the greatest ground. So tell your buddy that I'm going to stay in the fight.